Hello, and welcome to Counting the Omer 5786. This is the count for the night of the 11th of May 2026, or going into the daytime of the 12th of May 2026, right up until sunset when it will be a new day. Let's start with the blessing for this mitzvah of counting the Omer. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who sanctifies us with mitzvot and commands us concerning the counting of the Omer. Hayom arba'im yom shehem chamisha shavuot v'chamisha yamim la'omer. Today is day 40, which is 5 weeks and 5 days of the Omer. Zochenu hod shebiyesod yevarchenu. Those who remember the splendor within foundation, he shall bless us. All right, let us get into a little bit of study about these sefirot and what they mean. But before we do, let's say this blessing for Torah study. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who makes us holy through mitzvot, and who commanded us to busy ourselves with words of Torah. We are in the 6th week of the counting of the Omer, which corresponds to Yesod, foundation. This is the 5th day of the week, which corresponds to Hod, splendor. Yesod is a covenant. A covenant brings different parties together and binds them in a formal agreement. This is another way of thinking about integration. How do you integrate different warring parties? Or take two people who've been living completely separate lives and turn them into a family? Through a covenant. One must also have integrity and sincerity in one's self in order to be able to take part in a covenant. Without those, the promises made in the covenant are worth less than the paper they are written on, or the air expended in speaking the words. Netzach is the endurance to keep the bond made in a covenant. Hod is the humble acknowledgement of its sanctity. If Netzach is the chisel that carves the covenant in stone, there was a mosquito there. Hod is the brilliance of it once it is a standing artifact. Yesterday's Netzach and today's Hod. This morning, after pulling an all-nighter, I finally completed my last paper for the spring term at rabbinic school. When I was done, I went to a local Beit Midrash, a house of study, where I joined the students and teachers there in morning prayers. It was Monday, so there was a Torah reading, and one of the students, an adult woman in midlife, got up to read the Torah for the community for the very first time. Now, if you don't know, this is a really big deal. You don't just read Torah, you chant it according to an ancient tradition. The Torah itself is written without vowel symbols and without the musical notation for the traditional chanting. You have to spend time to learn those and memorize those in advance. You memorize the melody, and then when you're actually reading from the Torah, you read the words without any vowels. When she was done, and she said the prayer after reading the Torah, we threw candy at her, which is also a tradition. But don't worry, it was soft candy. Nobody was injured in this celebration. Afterwards, we celebrated breakfast together. When the service and the celebration was done, I came home and I crashed. Crashed is really the right word. My brain turned to mush and I slept. my brain still is mush, to be totally honest. And now I get a few days of rest. Honestly, I can barely move, I can barely think, but I am so, so grateful. I made it through. I am one step closer to my larger goal. My plans for tomorrow are to go walking in a park, do a little shopping, visit a friend, and be very thankful for this moment. And yes, I will be back here tomorrow to count the Omer. Thank you so much for studying with me and counting the Omer with me this year. We've got a little bit more than a week to go before Shavuot. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments, or you can come on over and join us at school where there's room for longer form discussion. Either way, I hope to see you tomorrow.